NERDSoul.
Yeah, late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, oh yeah, coming with another wonderful episode of Soultaku, y'all. We chilling, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's go. So, that go loser ranger, man. It got me sad, man. I ain't going front. At first, when I first saw Go Loser Ranger, when I saw the trailer, I was like, you know what, this might work for me. This could work. This could be dope. And then when I saw the episode as it started, I didn't feel the same excitement that I had from the trailer. I was just like, well, I mean, guess this is kind of like paint by numbers, no big deal. They're kind of introducing villains and stuff, kind of so what type thing, right? But the more I watched the episode, especially as we got past like this, the first part where they were fighting the Dusters and the fake kaiju. When we flipped to the Dusters that were up in the little like floating planet, or I mean the floating city or whatever, the little citadel or whatever, and reflecting on their conversation back and forth about kind of how they've been trapped here for 13 years, forced to battle over and over, they kind of became sympathetic to me. I won't front. For at first, this was something that I was just like, this is kind of like some Sentai stuff. It kind of looks basic, whatever. But the more that I watched I guess the or listened to the relationships between the different dusters like F and D and all of that, and their perspectives on how to make the battles better, or why are they there, or also why are they being treated the way they're being treated, things of that nature. The more I began to think, I kind of feel sorry for these guys because they're trapped here forever to be forced to go through this over and over, and they're never ever going to win. Like, they're never going to win. And they're not even kept in a nice place. It's not like you flip to where they're staying and it's some plush, relaxed. They got couches and they're in a suite. There's a little kitchenette and stuff. No, they're like in a, a cave or something. I don't know, man. At first, I was thinking like the first say 10 minutes, I was like, I don't know if I'll follow this. I don't know if I'm interested enough to watch this. And then the last, say, 10 to 15 minutes, I was thinking, yeah, I need to see where this goes because I kind of want these guys to at least kill them. Just kill them. Give them the sweet release of death. Like, just let them go. Let them free. They've served their time. 13 years, almost 1,000 battles of getting beat up over and over for some kind of like WWE type stuff. Come on, man. Like, they've served their time. You need to let them go. Now this is just cruel. And then when old boy is, I think it's F, when Duster F is like, yo, psh, I'ma fight. Even the Red Ranger's like, look, we didn't plan this. You gotta get your butt kicked, right? It almost, dag, man. I ain't going front. I honestly do feel sorry for these guys because they're kind of stuck. They're not even in good, they don't even have like good amenities and stuff. They're just in a cage. I don't even think I saw them receive food. Like, I mean, they could at least have them in, some like nice ritzy kind of, surrounding. But no, they're in the just some hobo conditions. And then on top of that, they got to get beat up over and over. You know what? I have to give it to this anime. I'm interested. I want to see where Duster F, I believe it's Duster F. I want to see how far Duster F can get. And, or Duster, is it D? Duster D? Maybe it's Duster D. Dirty D. But not. Duster D, I want to see how far he can get because even in the first episode, they're like, "We are justice. We are the Dragon Keepers," and they frauds. Like, straight up, they're frauds. They just straight frauds, and people are cheering and laughing and happy and hooting and hollering, and like they're just frauds. Not saying that they ain't got skills, they do, but what they're doing now is just it, it's it's just fraudulent. It's just sad, cheap entertainment, and no one's in on it but the Rangers. Well, I guess the Dusters because they ain't got no choice. But I mean, I guess like the thing says, it says Fighter D. So yeah, D. Fighter D is tired of the Sunday Showdown, man, and I can't front. You know what I'm saying? I gotta give it to him. I'm kind of tired of it too. Shoot, almost 1,000 beatdowns over 13 years. Come on, man. You got. I mean, they served their time. I can see if they did a dime, it'd be different. But 13. How long y'all gonna make them do this, bruh? Y'all wrong. Y'all straight wrong. And like we need to reveal the truth for these folks, man, because this is a shame now. This is getting too ridiculous. All right, it's too ridiculous. You need to stop. The truth shall set you free. You know what I'm saying? Please let these dusters go, or just kill them. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got just. I guess because they like, look, man, we don't want to. If we beat the Dusters, then we ain't gonna have nothing else to do. I mean, y'all can still do like I don't know, do like cool. I don't know, like the Go Go Rangers cares or something for the kids, and I mean, just be happy that the world is safe and you ain't gotta fight nobody no more. Or y'all gonna mess around and somebody real gonna come to Earth and y'all ain't gonna be prepared because y'all ain't been trading up your skills. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about Go Go Loser Rangers, man. I'm gonna stick around at least for a couple more episodes because now I want to see how far Fighter D is gonna take it and how it plays out because I am not a fan of these Rangers, man. The way they've been treating these guys, look, they're essentially prisoners of war. Like you could be more respectable to these guys, and what you're doing to them is just it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It should be beneath you. But let's go on and flip up because I also caught up on. Well, there's a couple of things I caught up on, but something that I caught up on because we got the movie coming soon is Spy Family. That's right. Finally caught up on Spy Family. It's been a minute. Look, I've been so behind. It's not even funny. There's still some stuff like I still haven't seen the end of Scavenger's Reign, so I had to catch up on that. But back to Spy Family. All right, so peep this. Finally got to the end of season 2, and I can't praise this show enough. When I left off the last time I saw this show, we were still about to get into the fight on the Lorelei, on the Princess Lorelei, and seeing that play out, seeing Anya throw the knife to her mom. The mom didn't know, but seeing Anya throw the knife, all of these like backhanded tactics with Anya reading the minds to be able to find out where her mom was to help her out. Of course, the fight scene between that samurai at the end and Yor, that was cool. And the the way they flip from something as serious as the battles on the cruise ship to the very next episode where they go on a like a little like vacation for themselves. Unfortunately, Bond doesn't make it out there, but they go on a vacation. It's beautiful the way they're able to handle silly, fun, family, and then actual serious fight scenes is beyond me in this show. Like it's handled so well. Like no one on this show annoys me. I love Anya. I love Yor. I love Twilight. Like all of them together are a perfect team, perfect family. I love Bond, man. The way they relate to one another, the way they learn one another, like Twilight and Bond's kind of, I guess you could say training sort of episode at the end of season 2 where he's getting to learn sort of how Bond processes things, how he relays information as far as need and help and danger and stuff like that was really cool. And also seeing the Stella creation from Anya and her giving it to her mom, giving it to Bond, giving it to Twilight. I love that as well. The There's so much heart in this show that it almost doesn't make sense. It's like, how is this show so good? And also, once again, I got to give a shout out to Coop. Coop, the one that was like, yo, man, you should check out this show. It's called Spy Family. I was like, yeah, man, I saw the trailer for it. I ain't trying to watch that mess. And then I'm one of the biggest proponents. Like, I already got my ticket for the movie next week. Like, bruh, I love this show. Spy Family is the bomb, for real. And even the silly stuff, like the episode where what's the girl's name? What's Anya's friend's name? She comes over and is it Becky? Brenda? Becky. Becky comes over and she's like swooning over Twilight, and just the way she's like taking her hair out, all of the silly stuff that she's doing to get his attention. And Twilight's like, I don't get it. What's going on? And then at least Yor picks up on it, like, oh, I get it. Like you like you like my husband. It's mad funny. And then with Anya reading Becky's mind and then being like, you know what? Having a rich mama would be nice. Like just all of the silly stuff. The comedy plays extremely well. It translates like extremely well. I don't watch the sub version because the voices, I don't think I'll get enough out of those voices. The dub version actually does well for me, especially when it comes to Anya and the way she misspells or mispronounces words. It Man, it comes through so much for me, man. Like her crying, going carrying on, Anya rolling on the floor to get a toy at the cruise ship, or you're thinking that she's alcohol poisoned Becky and running at a full blast down the street, getting hit by the car and doing like a triple axle flip and still catching Becky. Like, bruh, your is mad nice. Then you also have Bond and Twilight essentially bonding on their training day, where not only do they get to bite Scruffy Head and push him all around, but then save a dog from a burning building. They save the dog from the burning building. They catch the bad guy, and then they also get a better understanding of one another, of how they work and how they, I guess, need each other to work while they're together. We see it there in the building. We also see it in that mission that Twilight goes on earlier in the season, where he gets that vial from the company that was experimenting on the dogs. So there's so much to love in this show. Whether they're on their own, it's interesting, like an episode where it's Yor by herself or Twilight by himself, or where they pair off, where it's like Anya and Bond, or Twilight and Bond, or Yor and Anya. Like all of these things work well, and the chemistry is crazy good. This show is well written, it's well directed, it's well animated. On the low, Spy Family might be one of the best animes out there, but it just doesn't get the shine because it's kind of a family show. So outside of some language, it's kind of a family show, and I think it doesn't get the shine that something like like Demon Slayer gets. But I still think it's definitely a S tier anime, for real, for real, for real. But we got some other stuff to get into, like Ninja Kamui and stuff like that. So let's go on and move on. Now let's talk about Ninja Kamui for a second. I've kind of covered the most recent episode with Coop and Dub on Anime-ish, and I really dig the episode. I'm sorry that we lost Emma. I don't think we should have lost Emma. I think we should have lost the other computer guy. Emma is just such a beautiful part of the show, especially when we got to see her backstory and how she related to Mary and everything, or Mari and everything, and also with Mike and how he looks at her as kind of like a surrogate daughter due to the way he lost his daughter. I don't think we should have lost her. But I want to know your thoughts on Mr. Auza, because Mr. Auza, we know Yamaji has some kind of tricks or scams or schemes up under his sleeve still. And we see that he greenlit Reaper to go after Higan, you know, openly. But we see all of this stuff from Mr. Alza, like calling this whole like world domination thing a game, and him going to Reaper behind his back, being like, if it was me, I would have let you go after him, you know, initially or whatever. And even kind of, almost kind of being disrespectful and or flippant with Yamaji. I'm still holding out hope, and I want to know your thoughts. If Mr. Alza is not showing all of his cards, okay, think of it this way. I don't believe that Mr. Alza would make all of these cool suits for everyone except him. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he has some power or some skill that he's holding back. I think he's more than just the rich guy. And I could be wrong. He could just be your basic rich tech mogul guy that's like evil and that's it. But I'm wondering if he saved a suit in the cut for him that no one knows about. Also, it seems that the loyalties are breaking left and right. Like the young lady that was with Mr. Alza, with the shorty with the dreads, she was definitely taken aback by how he self-destructed Fade's suit. And I don't see that playing out well with the other people that he's working with. Like, you see that Yamaji sees him as like dishonorable. The girl now sees him as someone who's dishonorable. The guy that he killed, when he did it, when he realized that he was detonating his suit, he was like, how dishonorable can you be, or something like that. So he may be losing loyalties and allies from inside his own camp, from his own actions. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether, you know, they're double agents or not, or whether they were kind of like true to the cause, it seems like he's the one kind of messing things up for his own self. And I want to know your thoughts on that. Do you think that he's more than he says? Like, he's pretending to be just this computer guy, he's the tech wizard that's like the CEO. But do you think that maybe he has some ninja skill or ability, or some technological ability of his own, you know, gathering all this data so that he can use it for himself, not just for these like little suits and stuff for the military, but also for himself? So yeah. And then I guess before I jump off this topic, the show, I'm still digging it. I wish that we still had Emma, because we don't have Mari, and it would have been great to have Emma, to have that relationship, that familial relationship with Higan and with Mike. Also, before I bounce from Ninja Kamui, thinking about this as technologically savvy and as technologically powerful as Alza is, these four people, and at one time it was just one person on his own, and it kind of like grew as we watched the show, but these four people have stood against this huge multinational, you know, global company, and actually made an impact. Now, of course, they haven't taken Alza down, but these four people alone have done a lot to disrupt the plans and plots of Mr. Alza and his, you know, his ilk and all that. So I just want to give a shout out to them, man. They've really been doing their thing on showing how capable this small little team is, because it's just Mike, Emma, Higan, well, not Emma anymore, but Mike, Higan, Emma, and the computer guy, I can't remember his name. But these four people have done a lot to throw a monkey wrench in the plans of Mr. Alza. And I'm interested to see how this ends, because I don't, you know, I was talking with Coop, this might not have a second season. This might just be one season, like one, you know, self-contained story in one season. And if he's able to get to Yamaji, and I also want to see what Yamaji's plan is. But if he's able to get to Yamaji, we'll see, once and for all, how this really plays out. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Ninja Kamui, man. I'm still sticking around. I'm live tweeting it pretty much every Saturday night. So, holler at me on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? ThatNERDSoul. Come through. Let's talk Ninja Kamui. So, next up, I wanted to get into the catch up for the Bad Batch. I just checked out the Juggernaut episode, and okay, roll with me here. It's not that I do not like this show. I like this show very much. This Tantiss storyline, I think, is getting drug out too far. Okay, so think about this. We're on episode 12 now. So we're on episode 12. There's 3 more episodes to go. And think about this. We've been on Tantiss since episode 1. Either we've been on Tantiss or breaking out of Tantiss. You know what I'm saying? And I'm tired of Tantiss. Maybe it's me, but I'm tired of Tantiss. I like the characters. I'm just tired of Tantiss. And I even like the doctor there. I can't remember the doctor's name right now, but the evil doctor, whoever's doing his voice is doing a great evil voice. But it seems like the story stops when we go to Tantiss. And maybe it's because it's just, just labs and jail cells, maybe. But it seems like when we get to Tantiss, the story stops. Whenever we were away from Tantiss, we were doing great. But inside of Tantiss, we were just stuck in this slog of slow movement. And even the part of the episode where we're breaking out the ex-admiral to be able to get the information on Tantiss, when we're back and forth with Omega, and I forgot the doctor's name, but the doctor in Tantiss, I don't know, man. It's not grabbing me like it was. At first, it was grabbing me because we were confined. We also had that episode, Paths Unknown and Shadows of Tantiss. And I thought those were 3 great episodes to give us an idea what's on Tantiss. And now we can go and we can move on with the story. But now we're back in Tantiss. And it just seems like the story stops. I do see Emery. And I like Emery's seeming growth of kind of seeing what is going on. Especially since she's a clone herself. And seeing what's going on with these children and how they're being used and experimented on and all of that stuff. So I do think we're getting ready for a turn. I don't know how big a turn, but I think we're getting ready for a turn for Emery. But I don't know, man. I'm tired of Tantiss. I think Tantiss slows the show down in a way that I don't enjoy. It's very slow. It's not... Maybe it's because the suspense isn't really grabbing me the way it grabbed me in the first 3 episodes. But I'm ready to leave Tantiss. I want to get away from Tantiss and do something else. But I think this is going to be where we end the show because there's only 3 episodes left. Into the Breach, Flash Strike, and the Cavalry has arrived. So it's probably all centered around Tantiss. I don't think we're going to go anywhere else. And I don't know what the epilogue of this show is going to be like, but we're also playing with canon in a weird way where if these people are still alive, then like where are they in future events, things of that nature. So, holler at me. Let's talk about the Bad Batch. I still like the show. I like the way it's animated. It has that Clone Wars aesthetic. And I love that art style, the character design. I've always been a fan of that. But it's something about going back and forth to Tantiss. I just don't like being there. Maybe it's just the way. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be a place that you don't like to be in. It's Hades. You know what I'm saying? It's Hades, and it's Hades for the people that are trapped there. It's Hades for the people that work there. The only people that it's good for is the doctor who's like crazy and maniacal or whatever. But for everyone else, it is absolute Hades. And I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's since it's supposed to be like that. That's why I'm getting that feeling of like I just hate being here. And in that case, then that's a good thing because they don't want you to be here long. But it's since we're stuck in this story, we're like stuck in this place that I want to get out of to like do the story or do something else. Um, Now, since she's in the vault, and he said that this is going to be her home, he meaning Omega is going to be her home. This is going to be a serious breach or serious flash strike, whichever one of these episodes, because you're talking about an hour and a half left to show, or yeah, about an hour and a half left to show, and they're going to have to get through like 10 ray shields, 2 huge, metal doors, plus troops and guards on either side. But we also have 4 sensitive children that could possibly help fight back. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. So of course, let's keep holding on. I'm not against Bad Batch. It's just something about Tantiss that I just can't put my finger on, but I'm not enjoying being there. It's like stuffy and stifling, and it feels like it's hard to breathe there. You know what I'm saying? But I think I'll go on. I think the last thing, or one of the last things I'll hit on is X-Men. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some X-Men right now, bruh. This X-Men 97, they trying to come with it, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. They trying to come with it. I give them all kinds of props for it seems like they are doing their best to impress on this season. Now, when we talked about Genosha earlier in the season and them joining the UN, I was wondering if they were going to do something similar to like maybe a little fusion or their little take on a piece of the Krakoan era kind of storyline. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure this, things kind of like go in cycles and stuff like that nature, but it's that I can remember the most recent thing, something like that, like, Genosha. In other words, it was Krakoa, but something where they were joining the UN, they were part of their own sovereign nation and stuff. I was like, I wonder if they're going to do kind of a take on the Krakoan era. And in this case, we finally get a chance to see Genosha in its sort of kind of full glory. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's there having a good time. Morlocks are there. Everyone seems happy. There are a couple of things going on that Gambit is like, I need to ask the hard questions. But for the most part, we see Kurt. Kurt is happy to see Gambit and Rogue. They've already got their council. Moira's there as the human representative. And it seems that things are kind of going well. We even have performances with Dazzler and stuff and Multiple Man. So it seems like things are kind of cool. It's a new budding nation, but things are starting to look up. And this is transposed against this interview that I thought was very telling. Not from like a B-side or Jubilee side, even though Beast did say blue blushes too. I thought that was cute. But when Cyclops was like, look, you know what? We are different than y'all. And thank God we are, because we've given up so much. And if it wasn't for us, y'all would be dead, basically. Like if it wasn't for in this case, we don't know how much the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and stuff like that are involved in this particular universe, even though this is continuing the 90s universe, so we know they're there somewhere. But the X-Men alone, the hero community kind of gets pooped on, and mutants doubly so, because not only are they heroes and they, they're to blame for property damage and stuff, but they're also, it's kind of a racial part as well to it. So it's like he's basically just going and letting it out. He's stopped forgetting all pretense. Look, I'm not playing around with y'all no more. Look, we are different from y'all. And thank God we are, because if we weren't, y'all would be dead. We done saved y'all from evil mutants. We done saved y'all from robots. Done saved y'all from aliens. All kinds of craziness. and we're still here trying to prove our, you know, existence or our value to you. And I mean, I can see Cyclops being like, I'm done with that. And I mean, honestly, from another community, I can be like, I'm done with that too. We have years and years of people trying to prove themselves, their manhood or their personhood or their humanity over and over to America. And, it's like, I'm tired of it. So in this case, we get not only that side, but then we get a deeper look into Jean and Madeline and where they're at mentally, where Scott is mentally, where, he still kind of checks in with Madeline. And I know I can see Jean being angry about it, but it's weird because he's had these memories with her in this time with her. And I mean, like he said, I love both of you because you're sort of the same person. It's tough to separate when you're in this weird situation that Mr. Sinister has put together, and then he just pieced out, and no one's the wiser now. He's just gone, and so he's just created this huge love triangle kerfuffle and just bounced. I mean, they had a child together. And I know Jean, I can see her position like, yo, this other woman, you supposed to be with me, but she's also siloing herself off. You know what I'm saying? She's not making herself available in that way. And then so Scott has things that aren't said. Jean has things that aren't said. And then Scott still is trying to talk to Madeline and just keep up with her because they do share this experience of going through a pregnancy and then having a birth of a child that they had to let go. Like he said in the interview, like I let go of this child for y'all. You know what I'm saying? For y'all people. And we still up here trying to sing for our supper with these stupid interviews. So I can understand the anger that he came with. So I thought that was an awesome part of this episode. And then even the relation between Magneto and Sebastian Shaw and Emma, seeing him, calling them an eclectic allotment of social climbers. So, kind of drawing that line in the sand, like, look, I ain't like y'all. Like, y'all want to be, loved and respected and whatever. It's like, I don't need all that. I just need them to stay out my way. You know what I'm saying? I need them to stop trying to kill us. And along with this trip to, I guess, Genosha for the betterment of the world, for Genosha, for mutants, for humans, the UN and all that, we get, I can't remember the lady that is part of the UN. She's talking about y'all gonna let a terrorist be. It's like, I know you ain't talking. Let's not act like any human is without blame that's on the UN. All of these world leaders that done committed this act and that act, and so now it's me, so I'm the one on the hot seat. And I'm glad that Eric called that. Eric called that out. He's like, yeah, you just allow your leaders to be terrorists. Like, bro, like, if you don't get out my face, like, I remember there was one time, and I mean, it's not like I'm some, pro-China guy, but I remember there was one time the U.S. put out its humanity report or whatever, and it was talking about how bad China was with humanity and everything. And China was like, yeah, that's cool and all that, but don't y'all have homeless people not one block from the nation's capital? So it's like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, China got their own problems. China ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? China got their own problems. But they like, look, sweep around your own front door. And that's basically what Eric was doing. He was like, sweep around your own front door, bro. Like, don't worry about me. Don't be coming down my street. Not when y'all be bombing and killing and starving, whatever, your own people. Man, if you don't get out of here. So we get a good look at the emotional side with Scott, Jean with her kiss with Wolverine, with him saying like, look, Scott and Jean, that's just what it is. That's what it's always going to be. Scott's mental drift with Madeline. Then the whole backstory that we get from Rogue with Eric and her bringing this up to Gambit. And I like how Gambit just was like, look, all right, man, look, we just friends. Cool. He held that joint like a G. he was like, some things are deeper than the skin, and she was just like, nah, and he was like, all right, he just let that joint go. And you know, when we get to the party where Gambit is dressed to the nines, he got the white coat and everything. You know, when you throw on a white coat, you smooth. But he's up in there, and when Rogue arrives and she's like floating around with Eric, and I think she comes to that realization as well, like, hey, you know, some things are deeper than skin. And even though she does have that relationship with Eric, I think she knows there's just something about her and Gambit. And we get a very dope scene with them, during the attack that I'll talk about in a second, because there's still way more. Like there's this whole thing with Cable's voice reaching out to both Jean and Madeline Pryor, and we finally see Cable, and Cable shows up. He's coming, and it's like, who? Now, of course, we're playing the pronoun game because we can't give away the next episode and the next 2 episodes or whatever, the season finale, whatever it is. I hate when people say he's coming. It's such a. I hate when writers do that. But I mean, hey, look, you got to play the pronoun game because you got to keep us in suspense, I guess. I mean, whatever. So the fact that we see Cable's look at his mother and his mother's look at him, and she's like, "You made it." That was a beautiful moment where it's almost, you could see that she felt like, okay, my sacrifice was worth it. You know, he made it. He's alive, and he's alive. He's healthy, at least seemingly healthy, strong, and I can still see the humanity, the love in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? So he's not this, tortured. Well, Cable got his issues, and he's definitely been through it, but I have him in front of me. I can hold him. I can touch him. I can see my son. And him just saying, like, cut the music off, get out of here. He's coming. And what we see is an attack, which to me feels like the attack on the Hellfire Gala that they had in the Krakoan era, which is sort of still going on because they put it in its own timeline. So it's like sort of still going on. And this is where the rubber meets the road, like straight up. The Hellfire Gala, well, the I guess the UN reception kind of event gets attacked by Sentinels. And when I'm watching this, I'm in shock. I'm watching this episode like, oh my god. I figured what we were going to get was a lot of kind of like political intrigue, even like kind of monologue bantering or dialogue bantering back and forth between maybe UN members and Eric and Sebastian Shaw, especially the way Sebastian can be, things of that nature. But what we get is a full-on outward attack. This is a hot war attack on the nation of Genosha, right on the cusp of it being part, formally recognized by the UN. This is a international conflict. It's crazy. And the reason I'm watching this in shock, and the only thing that I could get out of my mouth was, who did this? Because you can't pull something like this off without a group of people. Like, tons of people had to know this. There's no way no one, like, one guy didn't pull this off. This huge, like, roach 3-headed sentinel that it's like a roach master mold with a ton of sentinel babies. There's sentinels all over the place. There's huge explosions. There's no way. I'm like, who did this? We need to track these people down. And yo, I was watching this like, we need to get them. And the only thing I'm assuming is that since we've seen Cable, what we've seen is how this situation plays out when he gets there too late, and then the next episode or something like that, we'll see him get there early enough to evacuate people and stop it. At least I assume so. Unless they're gonna leave it like this, man. If they leave it like this, I'll be like, yo, I will be surprised if they leave it like this. But bruh, between them going up against Magnus, him, and then Leech, it was so beautiful to see Leech just hanging out and chilling, because we know the Morlocks have been underground for so long. So just seeing Morlocks just hanging out and chilling, it was a beautiful thing. Seeing Leech with friends and all that, it was beautiful. And then when they were underground, like they even talked, they were like, the Morlocks are locked down, they can't escape. And Leech being down there saying like, look, you know, Magneto told me I'd never be scared. Don't worry about it. And then can I remember her name? The one with like the rainbow sort of hair. I can't remember her name. Someone in the comments will let me know. But when she was like, the X-Men, you know, we're not really cool with the X-Men. The X-Men really aren't cool with us. And seeing Gambit come in such a heroic way was boss level. This whole scene is boss level. Rogue and Gambit, Rogue flying, Gambit on the bike, bruh. I was done, man. Done. Like this episode, bruh, look. Shouts out to all y'all that worked on this show, man. For real. I can't. Whoo, boy. I don't even know where to start about how crazy good this episode is. We got so much heart between Scott, Jean, and Madeline, and then Rogue and Magnus. We got a lot of history with Kurt and Gambit talking about their lives together and apart, and then all of this stuff about Genosha as well. We get some political intrigue when it comes to the council. We get a full-on attack. We even get some hints to, of course, future involvement with Cable coming back trying to warn them. Bruh, I'm stunned. I'm thrown by this show right now. And this is just episode 5 or 6, 5. I think it's episode 5. Bruh, this show is crazy right now. Crazy. The thing we got to get down to the bottom of is, was this episode us seeing what happens when Cable can't make it? Or are we going to literally just play this out and this is going to be it? And this is how we're going to serve out the rest of the season. Because that's crazy too. Because if we serve out the rest of the season like this, that means that Rogue is still alive. There's a handful of mutants that are still alive on the island. But we have all our X-Men back at the mansion watching this on TV. Bruh, this is going to... If there was ever a time I needed this show to be an hour long. Bruh, look. Because the way Cyclops hopped off on that girl's face in the interview, oh, you know Cyclops. Man, look, Cyclops about to change his uniform after this. He about to wear the Scully uniform, the one where he got the full head cover, man, with the X across the body. Man, look, he about to change up. He about to be that new Scott. You know what I'm saying? He about to be that real Scott. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, hit me up in the comments, man. Let's talk about X-Men. This stuff is crazy. And lastly, I want to get into Fright Krewe. This was originally recommended to all of us at Anime-ish by Gamma Ray. Shouts to Mama Straw Hat. And then furthermore recommended by Mark Dub. Shouts out to the dubious one. And I got a chance to check this out. He kind of told us the vibe, which is, you know, there's some kids. They're entangled and embroiled down in New Orleans with the Loa, demons, a whole bunch of supernatural goings on between Rougarous and vampires, things of that nature. And when I looked it up, I was interested because I'm like, this is supposed to be a kid's show. It says TVPG. And one of the creators is Eli Roth. Yeah, that Eli Roth. That's what I was saying. I was like, Eli Roth? You mean the crazy kind of torture movie kind of guy? So I was thrown back a bit by just seeing who was involved in creating this. So I check it out, and I will say that after watching the first season, the second season has now dropped, but I finished the first season. It's 10 episodes for the first and 10 episodes for the second season. I like this a lot. I really do enjoy it. This gives me, especially since the kids are, I believe they're in high school. They seem to be, I can't remember if they said what exact age they are, but they seem to be kind of like younger high school age, like, you know, like freshman, sophomore, kind of like that. And I get a lot of great updated Scooby-Doo type vibes from this, but with a little bit of an edge. And I will say this, with that bit of an edge,
I don't think this should be TVPG. I think this should probably be TVY7. I think this should be a little bit older, because there are scenes that I think might be scary for younger ones, and there's some blood. There's, I won't say gallons of blood, but there's definitely blood in there. Blood for like spells, and also blood, because there's vampires in there, so there's like blood letting, blood drinking, things of that nature. But even though I'm not a big fan of the animation style, and I'll talk about that in a second, what wins me over a lot is just the basic premise of the story, and then also these kind of like unlikely heroes. I'm a sucker for the unlikely heroes, and the kind of like the band of misfits that kind of come together. You get your basic high school thing where you got the cool kid, and then the smart kid, and then like the bookish kind of one, and then like the nerd that nobody cares about. And seeing them kind of come together and become a unit over this first season is awesome, especially with their own issues personally and their issues interpersonally, where they have to all get over. And I think a thing that helps with this is not only the pacing and the direction of the show, but also the way the voice acting is played out. I generally like all the voices in this. I like the voice acting. There's a lot of emotion in it, especially like with the screams, and even when they kind of like razz one another, there's a lot of just energy in the voice acting, and it doesn't come off dull. Even though the animation, and I'll talk about that for a second, the animation at first kind of comes off dull, and I'll say why. Not in a bad way, but just in a way that I think may not suit this type of show. But I also understand that sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get your story out. And what I'll say is the type of animation that this uses reminds me a lot of PBS Kids. It has a very PBS Kids look, but I think that this is the reason I don't like it for this show, is because I believe that this subject matter is bigger or older or more mature than something that should be on PBS Kids. So the animation is similar. Like if you watch it like Wild Kratts, something like that, it's that type of animation. But I think that this subject matter is more mature than that type of animation. But due to the situations, due to the character design and the artwork in general, like the backgrounds, the layouts, I get over that pretty fast. The only time when I don't like it a lot is when when there's action sequences, and I would like a little bit more. But honestly, this works on a large scale for me. That's a minor issue when dealing with like the subject matter that I enjoy. I like supernatural action and supernatural horror. Also, the voice acting is very endearing. You end up liking these kids, or at least I ended up liking these kids in a way that at first glance I probably wouldn't check out this show, but after Gamma Ray and Mark was like, yo, give it a shot, I got in the episode and I was like, you know what? I don't like the animation for this type of subject matter or the animation style, but I stuck with it, and I ended up liking, what they were going through. I ended up getting caught up in, like the mayor and his wants and needs, and the mayor's son, the Fufulés, the vampires, just the 13th, and kind of the lore around that, Papa Legba, all of these different characters from the spirit world, like Ogun, and then also, the regular people that we're dealing with, like Soleil and Pat. I ended up liking these kids to a point that overshadowed that I didn't feel that this was the right animation for the project. So I'd say this: if you're looking for a kind of Goosebumps, Scooby-Doo kind of fix that's light, it's got some kids, it's fun, it's funny, but there's also some kind of scary moments with some blood and bloodletting and things of that nature, check this one out. I think this would be cool for older kids. I don't know if I'd say TVPG. I don't know if I would say this is cool for like, say, maybe 5, 6, or definitely not younger, like 4 or 3, but kids that are, say, like 7, 8, 9, something like that. I think this will be cool. Especially if they're into kind of like supernatural stuff. And you get to see a little bit of the lore of just New Orleans in general, and also the Loa that they come into contact with. We get to see a little bit from like Marie Laveau and things of that nature. So this show, for me, I'm in. I'm actually all in. At first, I was not digging the style and animation, but everything else won me over. And it's one of those kind of like 80-20 things. 80% of this show I like. The 20% is the style of animation that I think doesn't fit the subject matter, but I'm overwhelmingly invested in kind of what these kids are going through, how they're going to win, how they're going to overcome the next step with dealing with like demons and their own fears, and kind of conquering those and conquering their issues with themselves and with each other to continue to be a better team and a better family, because their parents kind of know one another, and their parents are cool, but then they have their own little beefs and stuff where they kind of rub each other the wrong way. You know how it is kind of in real life. So I dig this show. Do I recommend it? Yes. I think this is a show that actually has flown under the radar for me, and I like a lot. I really do. So yeah, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you down in the comments. Let's talk Ninja Kamui. Let's talk X-Men in that crazy episode this week. Let's talk about Fright Krewe. Let's talk about solo leveling. Anything that's on your mind. But until the next time, this is me telling you, man, protect your neck and peace.